So this is the part of the video where I was supposed to show you my new escape room TBR game. And yeah, I tried to record that 10 times yesterday, and each and every time something happened that made it so I just couldn't go on with that video. Either the software I was using to record it crashed, or an ugly bug would rear its head, or the list that was compiled was incomplete, another bug, or the list that was compiled just sucked. But every time there was something about that video that was just unforgivable. So out of frustration, I just scrapped that idea. I'm not going to do that video today. I'm going to wait until that game is in good shape and then present it in the way it deserves. It's pretty cool. I will put like some kind of montage at the end so you can kind of see what it's going to look like, build some hype. But yeah, that was disappointing. So I did what I guess normal people do, and I looked at my shelf where I've got over 60 books I haven't read yet, and just picked ones that felt right for now. No puzzles, no games, just vibes. I narrowed it down to 6. That's about what I hit each month. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get into it.
Joe's probably reading.
All right, first up is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I've been eyeing that one for a long time, mostly because of the cool cover, but the premise was intriguing to me as well. So imagine a world where humanity lives outside these enormous walls. These walls are there to keep out these massive Leviathan creatures that are kind of like kaijus, and they live to destroy everything. And within the world, an Imperial officer turns up dead because a tree grew out of his body, like it spontaneously erupted out of his body. The tree just burst out. And the investigators who are trying to solve this murder are basically a fantasy version of Sherlock Holmes and Watson. The lead detective, Anna, is an eccentric genius who absolutely refuses to leave her house. And her partner, Dinios, has a perfect memory, but no experience. He's 20 years old, and he hasn't figured out how to put the pieces together yet. I love a good mystery. I love good fantasy world building, and everything I've heard about this puts it all together very nicely. I'm starting the month out with this one because I think it will put me into a really good reading groove. All right, so number 2 on my list is The House Next Door by N. Rivers Siddons. It's about a woman who lives in an affluent, quiet, nice Atlanta neighborhood. And one day they start building a house next door. Very big, beautiful house. And then every single family that moves in, something horrible happens to them. Miscarriages, mental breakdowns, worse. The house isn't haunted in the traditional sense. There's no creaky doors or ghosts in the attic. The house itself is just evil. It finds your weakness and it destroys you with it. So the reason this is on my list is honestly because Stephen King, who I'm a bit of a fan of, wrote about this in his book, Danse Macabre. And basically he said this is the finest haunted house novel ever written. That's a pretty big endorsement. And I love the idea of a horror novel set in a very normal suburban southern world and where terror comes from someplace that should be safe. After a fast-paced fantasy mystery, I thought a slow burn like this would be a perfect change of pace. Okay, book 3, The Troop by Nick Cutter. From everything I've heard, this one is going to be rough. It's about a group of Boy Scouts who are on a camping trip over the weekend on a remote island. A sick man wanders into their camp, and he's carrying something, a bioengineered parasite. And things go very, very bad from there. It's not just creature feature stuff. What makes this supposedly really disturbing is watching how the group dynamics fall apart. These are kids, but when survival is on the line, the ugliest parts of human nature come out. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous about this one, and excited. People say it's like The Lord of the Flies meets The Thing, and the reviews are full of people saying that they had to put it down to take a break. It's won awards, and honestly, sometimes a book has to grab you by the throat and not let you go. I'm putting this one at the midpoint of the month, so I've got some momentum built up and can barrel my way through it in a couple of days. So book 4 is Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman, and honestly, this might be the book I'm most excited about on this entire list. And yes, I totally grabbed it because it's got a cool cover. This book is set during the Black Death in the 14th century France. A disgraced knight meets an orphan girl who tells him that the plague isn't just a plague, that it's a cover for something much bigger. Lucifer and the fallen angels are waging a second war against heaven, and the world of men has fallen behind the front lines. So this knight and this girl go on a journey across the devastated landscape, and things they encounter along the way, well, let's just say they get kind of biblical. I keep seeing this book come up as one of the most underrated horror fantasy novels of the last decade. The people who love it really love it. And the idea of combining historical fiction with cosmic, almost Miltonian battle between good and evil, set against the backdrop of the actual Black Death, come on, that's incredible. I'm reading this right after The Troop because I want to stay in that dark headspace, but elevate it from body horror to something more. Book 5 is The Poet Empress by Shen. This is kind of my palate cleanser, but from what I hear, it's not actually very lightweight at all. But this is one of the most gorgeous books I have seen. And, I mean, look at that. It's gorgeous. And yeah, I definitely picked this one up because I like the cover. The book is set in the final years of the crumbling dynasty in an East Asian-inspired world where magic is tied to poetry. The land is being consumed by famine, and poetry magic has been lost to everyone except the powerful elite. Our main character, Wei Yin, is desperate. Her family is starving, her siblings are dying, and she makes the decision to offer herself as concubine to the heir of this brutal ruling house. It's palace intrigue, forbidden magic, romance, and it's a debut novel, which I always get really excited about. After 2 straight horror novels, I needed something a little more lush and beautiful, and this looks like it'll fill that. The book has, for the most part, been very well received. The magic system sounds incredibly creative. The idea of poetry as power is very compelling to me. I think this is going to be one of those books that transports me to somewhere completely different. And finally, book 6, the one I'm closing out the month with, is Voidverse by Daniel Ober. Another cool cover. Yes, I'm a sucker for good covers. This is a 2026 debut novel, so it's pretty new. The premise is kind of wild. Imagine an infinite void, just nothingness in every direction, and scattered throughout it are these floating rocks where people live. Our main character is a woman called the Sinker who's been running from violence her entire life. And 2 eternal opposing forces collide, and she's put into this massive quest through the emptiness. People are calling it Dune meets Wool, which is a combination of words I can kind of get behind. I love ending the month with something I haven't heard anybody talk about yet. There's something special about coming to a book kind of blind, 0 expectations, no spoilers, no discourse, just you and the story. The concept alone is intriguing enough that I can't not read it. So whether it's incredible or a total miss, it's going to be an experience. And I honestly can't wait for it. So that's my April TBR. 6 books, no games, no rules, just the books that I'm genuinely excited to read right now. I've got horror, mystery, historical fiction, palace intrigue, and whatever you want to call Voidverse, sci-fi fantasy, I guess. I'm super excited about this lineup. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these and what you think about them. Are there any that I should be kind of nervous about? I already know The Troop is going to be kind of bad, going to mess me up. So don't hold back. Just let me know what you think. If you're putting together your own April TBR, let me know. Let me know what you've come up with. What are you going to be reading? Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Keep reading.